Hi guys, in this video we're going to make some heart-shaped ice cream cake toppers. We're going to use some ready-made or some ready-coloured fondant for this one, but you can dye your own if you want. So the colour that I don't have ready dyed is a pale brown, so I've just dyed this piece myself. I'm going to roll it out nice and thin and we're just going to cut out a heart shape from it. Now I've got a little quilting tool that's for embossing on cupcakes, so I'm just going to use this to create an ice cream cone sort of pattern on the bottom. And we're just going to roll some long thin pieces now that will go across the top of that patterning that we've just made, and you can stick them on with a bit of water. Then just make a second one that's a little bit longer, leave a bit of a space above your initial one, and we're going to stick that on there. So just choose whichever colours you want now for your ice creams. Now I've picked a pale purple and a green, and I'm just sort of rounding them off a little bit, and I'm creating two sort of circular shapes that will fit across the two lumps of the heart at the top. And I'm just going to use the cutter just around the top edge to make sure the curve does match with that of my ice cream. I'm just going to position it over it so I know whereabouts to cut it. So it's going to come just above that top line that we've added. Just add a bit of water or edible glue to the back to stick it in place. So I'm just taking the very side of my knife and just sort of pulling the fondant out a little bit, so scuffing it up so it looks a bit more textured like an ice cream. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water along that bottom edge. And what we're going to do is, taking the same colour as the ice cream we've made, we're going to create some teardrop shapes. Roll into a teardrop and place that just along the bottom edge under the matching colour, so it looks like your ice cream's just starting to melt and drip down. And put as few or as many of these on as you like. And I've just got some edible dusts. This one is a brown one, and I'm just dusting it around the very edges of my ice cream cone. So I've just dyed a little bit of my fondant a darker brown, and I'm just pulling off some tiny little pieces that I'm going to use for my chocolate chips in my green part of my fondant ice cream. And I'm just going to put a small dab of water everywhere that I want one of these to go and just push them down. Now I've not worried about them being perfect circles or anything like that. Now I'm going to make a little chocolate flake, and I'm going to cut some more of the brown fondant into a long rectangle. Not too long, otherwise it will sort of flop back on itself. So I'm keeping it quite short. And then what I'm going to do is just put lots of little lines in with the knife so it looks a little bit more flake-like. Now before I add the flake, I'm going to roll out some red for raspberry sauce. And I'm going to just use my heart-shaped cutter again to cut out just the top bit of it. And then with your knife, cut a line that's sort of quite a wavy line so that it looks like a dripping effect of the raspberry sauce. Now if it ends up a bit jaggedy like mine, just use your fingers to gently push away any bits that aren't very neat, smoothing them off a little bit. Again, a bit of water on the back of that, and we're going to stick that along the very top edge of our ice cream. And you can add a couple of extra little drippy bits coming down, again just rolling little teardrop shapes in the pink that you've done. And now I'm going to add the flake. I'm just going to put a little bit of an indentation in the end where I want to stick it so that it just slots nicely into there, and just attach it with a bit of water, make sure it's firmly in place. So that's it, done. And of course you can change it around, have different colours. The other one I'd made, I'd put a little cherry on top, so whatever you feel for it. And then you're going to let these dry, preferably overnight, and you can use these as cupcake toppers, or as I have done, you can stick them on the top of a cake. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.